say that. Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Spring is almost here, and so are pesky mosquitoes. Heck, spring is here, and so are the mosquitoes. The folks at Southeast Termite and Pest Control, they got a new treatment this year. It's even stronger than the one they've used in the years past, and it's longer lasting than before. Call them and ask them about it. They can line it up for you. You can set it up for one-time treatment, three-time treatment, monthly, weekly, whatever you want to do, they can do it. It's a great way to keep your yard and family safe during spring and summer. Keep away the insect carrying, the illness carrying insects like mosquitoes. All right, want to welcome in two new members of our panel today. We got David Ubben here from The Athletic. We got Ryan Callahan down here from GoVols247.com. It's going to be one of those segments. Let's talk Tennessee football quickly. Jeremy Pruitt wasn't happy. The Vols started spring practice, then they had spring break. They gave him the week off, obviously. When they came back, he wasn't thrilled with the level of retention from that first week. He sounded rather happy after the first week for him, not as happy when they got back. Is there anything they can do in terms of scheduling this thing with the recruiting calendar the way it's set up? They really can't move anything around, can they? For next year, I'm talking about.
Yeah, not really. The best you can do some years, it depends on when your spring break is. And with UT's being as late as it was this year, I don't think there was an option to really wait and have 5 weeks of spring practice after that. So it's just kind of one of those things coaches learn to work around. You do what you can with it. In this case, probably having 5 practices before instead of 3 made it better. But still, you're always going to have that drop-off there.
All right, last night they had their first scrimmage of spring. The word coming out of there, offensive line, shaky. Defensive line, shaky. I don't know if that shocks anybody, but I'm guessing it doesn't make anybody feel very good either. That sounds like a whole lot of, here we go again, thoughts on the performance of the lines. If that is the correct take, thoughts on where Tennessee is this year?
I mean, you're still looking at a defensive line that is young. You're talking about spring. You've got all new starters there. Emmett Gooden's kind of your best returner, and even he is barely played last year, kind of a rotation guy. Offensive line, you're still shorthanded. No Darnell Wright, no Trey Smith, and then certainly a lot of questionable guys around them. They're the guys that you'd like to have be a little better. And when you come to SEC play, so not too surprising. And still, you're talking about the middle of spring too. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, who knows where they'll be come fall, but right now it seems like you're picking up right where you left off in some ways.
Well, I think it's a reminder from a personnel standpoint that you need guys like Wanya Morris, who is here, Darnell Wright, who's coming in on the defensive line, Savion Williams, a junior college defensive lineman, all to be ready to help you at least. And then on the offensive line, you're trying to figure out who should be your 5. That's a big question. You have more of a rotation probably on the defensive side. But if we're talking about expectations of where Tennessee goes this year, the offensive and defensive line still have a long way to go for Tennessee to get where it wants to be.
And the difficult thing, when you count on freshmen, it's one thing to count on a freshman here, a freshman there. When you're starting, okay, we got these 4 newcomers, and we really need these 3 newcomers. That's a lot to ask for, Ryan.
It is, and on the offensive line, I've always said I don't think you want to have to count on those 2 freshmen starting from day one. I think the ideal situation is maybe one of them earns his way in, but you're not counting on both to start. So you still don't want to put unrealistic expectations on those guys, and I think this is a reminder, you're still working with mostly the same crew. You can't perform miracles in 3 months, and you've got half the offseason left. What they learned from the spring and how they improve from that over the summer is what's going to determine how good this offensive line really is.
That's why there were a lot of people who said good riddance when Drew Richmond left. That what you just said is the reason no one should have thought good riddance when Drew Richmond left, because you would have loved for him to held down one slot while one of those other guys is starting and the other one's working his way in. But now you just don't have the luxury of that kind of veteran. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more football when we come back. I'm going to talk to you about Trey Smith. I'm going to ask you about the transfers who are coming in, and we'll talk quickly about the return of Jim Chaney and the early returns on his return. How about that? Come on back on the Sports Source.